When it comes to, you know, that conversation of the GOATs, right, where you say you have them second.
Yeah.
As players, we try to understand what is the criteria that is being used, because usually the players, top five, very different from medias.
Okay. And that's fair.
And it's we try to understand what is the criteria for you guys, because obviously it's very different from us, because we're in the Lions Den, so we know who is better than who. We gauge the value of their team, the players, versus their success. So we know, like, okay, you have this team. We know you don't supposed to win. We're tripling you.
Right.
How are you performing?
Right.
Right. So we gauge stuff like that. That's why our list is a little different. So, you know, for the most part, what is the criteria that media is being used, or
I don't
what
know.
they're using?
I think that's a legitimate question, and I don't think there's one definitive answer to that, to be in fairness to you. And I think that one of the great things about this podcast is that no matter how we feel, when y'all open y'all mouth and y'all start talking basketball, and I got to give Kenyon love for this too, because Kenyon's always been a serious brother. He means what he says, and he says what he means. And even if he's wrong, it comes from an edified place. He ain't speaking ignorantly. He's making points. It's just that sometimes you agree or you don't agree with him. But he's a Rough Rider, and I got mad respect for him. I think it's important to understand that when we look at Jordan, for example, we look at 6 finals, 6 MVPs, unblemished in that championship round, never allowing a Game 7 to take place. We've seen in one pressurized moment after another where he answered the call. We look at Kobe. He's a 5-time champion. You have a lot of people out there that put him ahead of LeBron because of that. I think Kobe was a killer, God rest his soul. The brother he'd be somebody that he'd give it to you. And not to say that he didn't play defense, because obviously, you know, in his prime, he was an elite defender. The flip side to it, however, is that when you're playing with Shaq and the rest of the crew, and then ultimately Gasol and Bynum and the rest of the crew, you had a crew. When you struggled, you really, really struggled. That was never LeBron. See, when you look at LeBron took that team to the finals, and then you get swept by San Antonio. But you saw what he did. Right. Everywhere he's been, teams have elevated. So you can't take that away from him, because he's 6'9", he's 260, because he could play inside and out, because he can be, you know, lethal in the open court, because he could step things up defensively, because of so many things that he brought to his arsenal, and how he would create mismatches, which I think is one of the things that he's done better than most. You look at him along with the 4 championships and what have you, and you say you can't take that away from him, because as bad as the Lakers were as they descended, right, in Kobe's final few years there, would that have ever happened with LeBron? The answer is no. With LeBron James, no team would have been as bad as the Lakers were at one point. So you take that into consideration as well. You think about all of those things. And then you look at a Bill Russell, for example. Yeah, different time, 11 championships, 13 years, you get all of that. But in the same breath, he was a defender and a rebounder, but far from an offensive juggernaut. You look at a guy like Wilt Chamberlain, arguably the most unstoppable big man in the history of basketball. But I'm looking at your number one nemesis, which was Bill Russell, and he outnumbered you 11-2 in titles. Plus, you had quit in an NBA Finals game in the eyes of a lot of spectators. So you got that going on. I'm looking at Jerry West, God rest his soul, the silhouette, where you won 1 title in 9 tries. You see what I'm saying? I'm looking at that. I'm looking at Tim Duncan, the 5 titles. Yeah, but it was Popovich. Yeah, you Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker and the crew. But you know what? You got the Lakers a couple of times. They got you a few times. Not quite the same. The Diesel, Shaq, dominant. But a big man that played bully ball but struggled at the free throw line with 52% shooting from the free throw line, et cetera, et cetera. You got those things. There's so many different things that go at. Tracy McGrady was big time. T-Mac was no joke. But you got the title when it didn't matter. When you were in your prime, certainly Grant Hill getting hurt didn't help in Orlando. It's not your fault. We know that you had those requisite skills. But what will forever be held against them was not only the absence of titles, but you were up 3-1 on Detroit. and basically said the series was over. And Chauncey and them brothers came back on you. I'm just saying. I'm not talking about, I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm saying his words before the series was over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, one of the things we marvel about when we talk about Kobe was that social media hit with Iman Shumpert was playing for the Knicks, and he talked about how he was going up against the Lakers and Kobe came up to him and said, you had a really good game. Pat him on the back. You had a really good game. And it was the end of the third quarter. And then Kobe in the fourth went berserk. So, you marvel at shit like that because you sitting there and you like this, all right, you talking some shit, and then you see somebody like yourself, his age is 0, and then you dropping 60 on somebody. That shit matters. And so you think about those moments, and then you go back to LeBron and his greatness, and you say, yeah, it's there, it's legit. But we do remember the finals against the Mavs. We do remember that you struggled in the fourth quarter of 4 consecutive games. We do remember that J.J. Barea and Jason Terry were guarding your ass, and you didn't do something about it.
2 excellent defenders.
Well, no. So I'm just saying that you look at something like that. That don't stop you from being number 2, but it'll stop you from being number 1 because you know what Jordan would have done because Jordan did it. So those kind of things, again, it's all debatable in people's eyes, but not to me when it comes to Jordan. And then they say, well, why not Kobe, with Jordan? I said, because Kobe idolized and practically it was the greatest imitation of Michael Jordan we may have ever seen. In terms of style, right? Still came up 1 title short. Still got beat up in the NBA Finals twice. You remember that. And so it's like, you're up there, you're great, but who you aspired to be, you never caught nor eclipsed. And that's how you look at it. So you come to the conclusions for a variety of reasons. But my thing is, I'm not disrespecting you. We're having a conversation about the greatest. You're in the conversation. There's no reason to feel disrespected. It's just a matter of whatever somebody's opinion is.
Like, even when it comes to Kobe, I don't think anybody ever considers the start of it, right? When you're talking about top 10, top 5, top 20, probably top 30, he's the only player that came off the bench 2 years.
Yeah.
So nobody realizes how great he had to become from where he started.
That's fair.
That should be factored in.
Well,
when you're talking about the top 20, they were given the keys as this is your team.
Well, not Steph.
Yeah, Steph was a starter. Steph averaged like 18 his first year.
Started his rookie year.
How many games? Yeah, he started the majority of his first games.
Well, I think towards the end, but I'm saying.
But this is literally off the bench 2 years straight.
How about Kobe?
Yeah.
First 2 years.
Off the bench.
Yeah.
First 2 years?
Off the bench. Like,
Eddie Jones was there.
Yeah. Steph started 77 of the 80 games.
77, yeah. Kobe, like, he had 1 start, right? In 2 years? Right, so like to start off like that to then become who you became.
Right.
That should be, kind of factored in just a little bit.
Yeah.
When it comes to the T-Mac on that part, and I go back.
7
And I love T-Mac, one of my all-time favorites.
7 starts in his first 2 seasons.
I look at it like this. You guys were up 3-1, but you lost, right? And we're laughing because you lost. Technically, y'all were supposed to get swept. So we have to factor in that you won 3 games that you weren't supposed to win. Because it was a 1 versus 8 seed. I look at it like that. If we saying you're supposed to get 4-0 and you did get 3 wins, it's still 3 wins.
Right. But you have to remember, and this is fairness to you because you're a basketball aficionado. So when you bring this up, basically you're saying these conversations should be left to the basketball aficionados, which I respect. Because you're right. Because most people don't remember they were supposed to get swept. Most people don't remember that. They don't remember you didn't have Grant Hill. You were carrying Orlando on your back single-handedly, and the Detroit Pistons were en route to winning the title, and here you are standing in their way. But what they do remember is that you said the series was over.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact wording of his quote right now. But he said the series was over after they were up 3-1. He was basically saying, man, it'd be good to advance to the next round. And, you were talking like that. So cats going to remember that. They're going to remember that because you T-Mac and you had that kind of game. And you can look at it the fact that they were supposed to get swept, or you can look at it this way. You T-Mac if you were good enough to win 3, how come you didn't get 4? See what I'm saying? I mean, you can look at it that way too. Recognizing is good. Like that's a cat that I always, him, Melo. You know how badly I want to see Carmelo Anthony in the NBA Finals, man. Because I know who he is. You know.